Connections. They are the foundation of our work and life. Always. Beyond the numbers, beneath the strategies, behind the structures, resides the key to our success. Personal relationships. Connections are the foundation of all that we do, beginning with each client, putting their needs first at all times. Helping each client realize a life well planned. The magic of Raymond James stems from our human connections and the conviction that no matter the challenge, no matter the distance, we stand together, resilient, steadfast in our shared values and convictions to make a difference to our clients, colleagues, and communities by remaining connected always. Please welcome Jamie Coulter, Chief Executive Officer, Raymond James Limited.
Good morning, and welcome to Connections 2022. We're all here. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed the opening video. As you know, it's a signature element of our conferences and a great way to kick off today's event. I'd like to begin today with a land acknowledgement to draw our attention to the physical place we are all connecting from today. For thousands of years, the land we are gathered on has been the traditional, unceded, and ancestral territory of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh nations. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across the Coast Salish territory, and we are grateful for the opportunity to gather on this land. Thank you again for taking the time to join us for Connections 2022. So nice to reconnect with old friends, meet new partners, and reinforce our unique culture here at Raymond James. And to do it in person. C'est très agréable de se retrouver. Je suis très heureux que vous avez accepté cette invitation en grand nombre. We are used to dealing with uncertainty. It just comes with our territory. In normal times, an organization like ours faces numerous uncertainties of varying consequences. Y2K, the tech bubble, the crash of, the 87 crash, global financial crisis of 08, 09, just to name a few. However, I would characterize the last 2+ years as a period of extreme uncertainty, and one that has been both trying personally and professionally. In March of 2020, the emergence of COVID-19 forced us into a highly uncertain environment. Flash forward to February of this year, and just as it looked like we were entering a more hopeful phase of the pandemic, Russia launched an unprovoked war with Ukraine, unleashing humanitarian horrors and a new wave of uncertainty for Ukrainians and for all of us. Uncertainty, whether within the horrors of a war, the fears of a pandemic, or unsettled global markets, affects us all. However, from an organizational perspective, I believe our capacity to manage through these uncertain times is a testament to our ability to rely on our common vision and values that have stood the test of time. As the most advisor-centric firm, we help clients live their best lives. That's our vision, simply put. It has offered a powerful way to navigate uncertainty while our values, clients first, conservatism, independence, and integrity ground us. And it is times like these that we see if the Raymond James vision and values are just words on a wall or part of our DNA that enable us to rise to the challenges before us. Unfortunately, in so many ways throughout the past 2 years, you have demonstrated how strongly our vision and values are embraced across Raymond James. Thank you. Our shared values form the foundation of the firm through our now 6-decade history of serving clients. And it is important to note that these same values were championed by our predecessor firms, including McDermott St. Lawrence, Gopal Shields, and of course, 3Max. And I want to thank you all for rising to those challenges, for helping your clients and your colleagues, and for challenging the firm to raise the bar to better support you. The time spent ahead of the pandemic helped prepare us for the crisis of COVID, fine-tuning processes, creating procedures, investing in infrastructure like our Pulse VPN, and building up our teams, both at the firm level and within your own practices, paid off. I still recall the firm rolling out Zoom in the fall of 2019 and thinking, well, this is neat, but I'll never use it. Boy, was I wrong. Our ability to transition quickly to working remotely in just 2 weeks was remarkable. Our IT colleagues went above and beyond, and our successful pivot speaks to how resilient our advisors and associates are when faced with shared adversity. We know other banks and firms didn't fare nearly as well. And as recent events have proved, we have to continue to expect the unexpected, but also remain resilient in the face of challenges that come, knowing that our vision and values will always be our guiding principles for whatever comes next. I'd like to pause for a moment to celebrate our history. The slide you see is a picture of a young Tom James and his father Bob, who founded Raymond James in 1962. This means 2022 marks our firm's 60th anniversary. And throughout these 6 decades, Raymond James has grown and succeeded as a client-first and people-first organization. Stepping into my new role, I'm humbled by the efforts of so many others in the firm who have done so much heavy lifting to set the path for Raymond James in Canada. And with us today, we are fortunate to have a number of key leaders who have made incredible contributions to our company, our culture, and our legacy of excellence. And I'd like to ask the following to please stand. Ken Shields, former CEO of our predecessor firm, Gopal Shields. I'm so glad you can make it. As many of you know, Ken was instrumental in orchestrating the partnership and launch of Raymond James in Canada. I just can't think of how many trips he made from Vancouver to Tampa. It's about as far apart as you can get and still say I'm on the same continent. Those are a lot of trips, but it paid off. Thank you. And Ken actually hired me twice, once in 1998 and again in 2005. Sitting beside Ken is Rusty Gopal. Rusty was one of the partners that started Gopal Shields. And legend has it the company started at your kitchen table in 1987. Now, I haven't been able to pick him out in the crowd yet, so I hope he's here. But I'm hoping that Keith Awney is in the crowd. He's the former CEO of McDermott St. Lawrence Securities. He may not be here today. I did want to recognize him. He actually hired me in 1995. And we also have 2 very important partners and representatives of the senior leadership team at 3Max. One, actually. I was hoping to be able to recognize Bart McDougall, who served at one point as chairman of 3Max. He unfortunately wasn't able to make it to Connections 2022. But Tim Price is here. Tim, please stand. Both Bart and Tim were instrumental with the 3Max decision to partner with Raymond James in 2016. Thank you. There's a funny story there, too. If my dad hadn't retired when he did, I would have been his branch manager. And of course, many of you know our global CEO, Paul Riley. Paul will be on stage tomorrow morning. And I want to thank and acknowledge the tremendous support we received from Paul and the rest of the Raymond James Financial Organization. Please, again, join me in a round of applause for these tremendous partners. And I'm we've got two other special guests to recognize here, and thankfully you're both sitting in the front row. Peter Moores, CEO of Raymond James United Kingdom. Come on up, Peter. Joined us from across the pond. And Paul Aberle, the CEO of the Charles Stanley Group. Charles Stanley joined the Raymond James family earlier this year, as you know. I know you'll get a chance to meet all these guests, and I hope you take the time to do so over the next couple of days. Thanks again. I'm really glad you're here. Now, the true legacy of Raymond James is reflected by the efforts and professionalism of our people in all functions and at all levels. And we are fortunate to have so many incredible people across our branch network, in capital markets, with Raymond James Trust and the bank, and through various support groups. But there are some colleagues in particular who demonstrate excellence serving their clients day in and day out. And many have played key roles in helping to grow Raymond James as a home for high-quality advisors and portfolio managers who thrive in an environment that allows the freedom to always do what is best for their clients at all times. And of course, I'm speaking about those who have earned membership into our Chairman's Council and Executive Council. And could I please ask these top performers to stand up so we could acknowledge their accomplishments? Thank you to all these men and women. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you who are setting your sights and achieving these same prestigious standards. Now, we recently recognized the 20-year anniversary of Raymond James in Canada, and that milestone got me thinking about tenure and longevity, and even more so when I heard about Wayne Latta in Toronto and Robin Douglas here in Vancouver, who celebrated or recognized 50 years in the investment industry. So I thought we could get a rough profile of the various durations of service amongst this group with a simple activity. So I'm going to ask all of you to stand now, take a second to stretch, maybe say hi to the person beside you. Okay. Now, if you joined Raymond James or 3MAX in 2020 or later, please be seated. 2020 or later, please take a seat. We had more than 500 colleagues join us since COVID started. Welcome to all of you. If you joined Raymond James or 3MAX in 2015 or later, please take a seat. If you joined Raymond James or 3MAX in 2010 or later, take a seat. I think you can see where I'm going with this. If you joined Raymond James or 3MAX in 2005 or later, please be seated. Those of you who are still standing have been part of our firm since 2004 or longer. Thank you for your many contributions. Please take a seat. Maintenant, vous pouvez vous asseoir. That's some serious longevity there. Well, as you know, the legacy of any great firm starts with the quality of its people. And each one of you, whether you're new to the firm or you have a long, rich history with us, are important to our present and future success. And your collective efforts throughout the most challenging times any of us have gone through in our lives have made an important difference to our clients and colleagues. And thank you for all that you do that makes Raymond James unique. Now, the last time I addressed you all as a group was in December of 2021, virtually. We were hoping that our return to office world would begin in January. Omicron, of course, had other plans. But now, as you can see, we're all well into resuming in-person gatherings in offices and otherwise. And I'm certainly excited for more hopeful days to come, as I'm sure you are as well. Now, of course, I appreciate that we're all still adjusting and have some varying levels of comfort. And it's my sincere wish, though, that you enjoy your time in person here together, and you do so in a way that is comfortable to you. Our NBC organizers have been hard at work for quite a long time to make the next few days informative and fun. And a special thanks to Lauren and Andrea and Stephanie. I'm not sure if they're in the crowd here. They're probably keeping us on track outside of the room. Please take a moment to thank the three of them. They've put in countless hours of efforts to ensure this event went off without a hitch. I recently attended our annual Institutional Investors Conference in Orlando in March with 1,500 other people. And I can tell you there were moments where I was overwhelmed. I couldn't believe I was at an event unmasked with all of these people. But it was energizing and exciting, and it just seemed to give me a sense that we're getting back to what we were all used to. And I certainly felt that last night at the reception. It was great. The buzz was palpable. This return to being together can propel our business forward and help us rekindle our internal and external connections. Now, as you may have heard, Raymond James Canada was recently recognized as a 2022 Best Workplace for Hybrid Work. And we received this recognition based on the results of the Trust Index survey and an assessment of our current programs and practices. This makes me incredibly proud, as so many of us have been focused on supporting our people through the challenges of the last 2 years. And as you can see from the slide, we actually achieved recognition in a number of categories, which is commendable. Now, hot off the press, for the first time in 10 years, I am pleased to announce that Raymond James ranked number 1 in the 2022 J.D. Power Canada Investor Satisfaction Study. Just in case you were wondering what this little trophy was doing up here. This ranking is a reflection of the efforts of many, starting with our advisors, our portfolio managers, and their respective teams, as well as our support groups who have worked so hard, and our leadership teams at the branch and corporate levels. Congratulations to you all. It's well deserved. Now, even though we've been recognized as a best hybrid workplace, I know it's going to take some time to adjust to our new work styles. Priya Parker, an American facilitator, strategic advisor, and author of The Art of Gathering, recently shared some good guidance on the hybrid workplace model and how we can all come back together and connect meaningfully. And she says, whether your team is in person, remote, or hybrid, one thing is true in any form. Connection doesn't happen on its own. You need to design for it. We're all going to need to find ways to help our colleagues feel more comfortable at work. There's no doubt about it in my mind. So let's find some examples. One that Priya shares in her book is the daily ritual of everyone in the workplace hitting pause in the afternoon and gathering for some tea. Another example she cites is Bagel Wednesdays from a founder of a startup who was trying to galvanize and set connections amongst his team. On Wednesdays, everyone would gather for a bagel and chat, and the only rule was you couldn't talk about work. It's not a bad rule. Personally, I'm enjoying catching up with folks while grabbing a coffee in the kitchen on the 54th floor in Scotia Plaza in Toronto, or riding in an elevator with somebody I haven't seen in a long time. I think the key is to keep it simple but intentional. So maybe you will come up with some collective mechanisms over the next couple of days, in person or virtual, to foster connection within your branch, department, or team. And of course, there are many team members who are required to be in the office 5 days a week, fulfilling their job responsibilities despite the pandemic. And I want to thank all of these folks: operations, IT, compliance, finance, facilities and office services, for their important contributions to ensure RJ Canada operated smoothly throughout the pandemic and continues to do so today. Thank you. Now, while we continue to sort through optimal work processes in our hybrid environment, it's also important to remind ourselves of our orientation as a firm. Where are we headed? Our vision remains clear and straightforward. As the most advisor-centric firm, we help clients live their best lives. Our aspirational goal is an advisor force of roughly 550 in Canada, 25% of whom are women, overseeing approximately $100 billion in AUA. More broadly speaking, Raymond James Financial has a goal of exceeding $2 trillion in assets by 2030. As you can see on this graph, we've been tracking well since 2016 with respect to assets under administration. And we are on track to hit $100 billion by 2025. What's the magic of that number, though? This growth trajectory should allow us to generate sufficient free cash flow to continue to reinvest in the business, which will in turn ensure we are well equipped to help our clients live a life well planned. How will we get there? We will get there by delivering on our goal of attracting and retaining great advisors. Today, we are fielding a team of roughly 490 advisors, taking care of roughly 70 billion in client assets, coast to coast. Afin d'augmenter notre croissance, nous avons identifié que les 10 meilleures opportunités sont situées en Ontario et au Quebec. Two key growth areas for us are certainly Ontario and Quebec. Now, finding and onboarding 50 to 60 additional teams of advisors will not be an easy task. In addition to the efforts of our growth and development team working alongside our BMs, we are looking for you to share the Raymond James story across your networks. And then we can loop in our highly regarded transition team and let them work their magic to ensure a smooth transition. We will get there through the continued digitization of our platform. Recent examples include e-signatures via DocuSign, smart forms, and based on your valuable input, enhancements to our client access site, which will continue to go through upgrades over the coming months and years. All of this allows us to develop and optimize the best-in-class experience for our clients while fully leveraging the resources of our entire firm. The slide on the screen you see there shows our advisor's toolbox as of today. I don't expect you to be able to take it all in at the moment. Rather, I'm showing it to highlight the incredible volume work that has already been done. And one item you don't see here is a project we're working on to implement an advisor portal that provides an integrated view from various data sources through a single dashboard. Think data file, a CRM solution, advisor comp, Creasus, etc., all in one spot. And the data views available through the dashboard would include a 360-degree view of your clients as well as your own business. Our project team is actually currently evaluating the feasibility of the advisor dashboard functionality currently available in FactSet. To learn more about where we're going on the tech side of things, I invite you to check out the tech booth in the walkway between this room and the front of the hallway. Just not right now. We will also get there by supporting and enhancing your efforts to build your practices. That may be through marketing support, succession planning, or practice management. And along these lines, I'm proud to announce that Raymond James was instrumental in the creation of the Investment Professional Leadership Program powered by the Ivey Business School at Western University. And the inaugural class met a couple of weeks ago at Niagara-on-the-Lake. Raymond James has 10 advisors in the first cohort. Many of them are in this room here today. I hope you sort of volunteer and let your peers know that you're in the program and share how it's going from your particular perspective. And they're in that cohort with advisors from other firms across the entire country. The energy in that room, I was there for that opening Sunday. I stayed a lot longer than I thought because it was just so captivating. It was amazing. This program is a unique opportunity to learn and develop your practice and network with other advisors, internal and external, to Raymond James. You'll hear more about that program in the coming weeks and months. We will also achieve our goal by adding to our total wealth management offering. The addition of trust services has been a huge value add based on your feedback. We just announced a partnership with Trowbridge Professional Corporation to provide U.S. tax returns to our clients. I actually got Raymond James Trust named as the executor in my will, and Raymond James did my taxes this year. And I got a refund. Sorry, there's supposed to be a disclaimer there somewhere, I'm sure. And of course, we've made significant strides in building up our financial planning resources this past year during extremely difficult hiring conditions, probably the worst I've ever seen. How else will we achieve our goal? We will get there by ensuring our main businesses, private client, capital markets, asset management, and the bank, are working together to support each other on both sides of the border. And that can take many forms. Our equity analysts collaborating with our PCS investment strategy team to deliver timely and actionable research ideas for you and your clients. And I'm thinking of a great piece that Nadeem collaborated with Brian MacArthur on gold a couple of months ago, I think. Or the Canadian and U.S. strategy teams working together. And along those lines, I'd like to thank Larry Adam and Tavis McCourt and Ellis Pfeiffer for making the trek north to join us this year. I hope you're all in the room here today. You'll see them over the course of the next couple of days. Or perhaps our PCG and institutional trading teams working together to move big blocks of shares for your clients. Thank you, Bob. Our Canadian bankers working with their U.S. and perhaps European counterparts to win and execute an M&A mandate. Our corporate departments working together to deliver a high level of service operationally. And on that note, I'd like to give a special thanks to Chris Azenbury, Raymond James Chief HR Officer up in the front row here. He's taken the time to join us from Florida. Thank you. And as well as Pedro Suriel, who I saw earlier, now I can't find him, but there he is. Thank you, Pedro. SVP of Diversity and Inclusion. Thank you for joining us as well. And finally, we will get there by being more intentional about moving toward a more sustainable future as an organization. In Canada, we welcomed Eric Sarvala, who in addition to running the Raymond James Canada Foundation, has also taken on the role of Head of Corporate Sustainability. As a firm, Raymond James is committed to corporate responsibility in 4 key areas: people, community, sustainability, and governance. Our 2021 Corporate Responsibility Report, in particular, highlights our commitment to diversity and inclusion. And periodically, I'm asked why we as an organization have made such a commitment to promote diversity and inclusion, and more particularly, why am I personally involved? Well, let me tell you a story. A few years ago, when we were gathering at a conference just like this in St. Pete, I spent some time at the home office. I was going over for a meeting in Tower 4, and I remember walking through the cubicles in the offices, and I was struck by the number of pride stickers that I saw on the workstations and the office doors. And I thought, whoa, we're not doing that in Canada. We're not doing that in Toronto. At the time I was running the branch, I had the privilege of running the branch at the 53rd floor of Scotia Plaza. And I was there with 2 of my colleagues who are now branch managers in their own right. And we took that idea back and we said, you know what, we've had an opportunity, a missed opportunity here that we should take advantage of. And so we started celebrating Pride in Toronto. Subsequently, one of my close family members came out as gay. I was grateful for the learning I had already undergone, as I felt better equipped to support her than I would have otherwise been. And that learning continues today. Another reason Raymond James Canada is committed to diversity and inclusion is because it is unequivocally the right thing to do. Ours is a values-based, people-based culture. Among other things, culture is a function of how an organization treats its people. By nurturing an inclusive and diverse culture where everyone feels welcomed, respected, valued, and free to bring their whole selves to work, we create an opportunity to bring out the best in people. If you haven't yet, I would encourage you to visit the Diversity and Inclusion Hub on RJNet and read the amazing stories of people here at Raymond James. Sign up for a webinar or an event, or check out some of the great resources that are now available, including my personal favorite, Idea Tuesdays. It's a micro-learning initiative. It makes it easy for me to learn about a whole wide range of topics in little snippets of time. And importantly, you can submit questions anonymously and get them answered by subject matter experts. However, our commitment to diversity doesn't begin and end with the hub. We also have to actively participate in, support, or sponsor programs that increase diversity and promote inclusion. And then we know we are doing more than the status quo. And to that end, I'd like to thank those who participated in our first ever self-identification exercise. Among other things, we have learned we have strong representation in racialized and immigrant groups, but are underrepresented for Indigenous people. And women are underrepresented in our firm compared to the overall Canadian population. Our ultimate goal is to be more reflective of the Canadian population as a whole. Now that's a lot. And while we're trying to accomplish all of these worthy goals, we will be dealing with no shortage of challenges. We can continue to expect and navigate continuous regulatory issues, changing client expectations, ever-present competition, both new and existing, as well as an ongoing need to make new investments in our platform. And that's what those gray arrows are circling around. That's because we have to keep making those investments. However, I think we are well positioned to meet these challenges, both as individuals and as an organization, particularly knowing we have strong support from our U.S. parent. Connections are critical for us all, personally and professionally. They contribute to our happiness, which contributes to our long-term health and output. We are coming through a time where we have been tested. And it has been a real challenge to stay connected, even though technology has helped in many ways. Among other things, I hope this conference allows you to begin to reconnect and replenish the social capital lost during the pandemic. And maybe most important of all, I hope you have fun meeting new partners and seeing old friends. As you've heard me say before, you can't take care of your clients unless you take care of yourselves first. Si vous prenez bien soin de vous, vous allez être en mesure de traiter votre clientèle avec attention. Please enjoy the less structured time we've got in our agendas, like the cocktails, like last night, the dinners, the 5K for Kids event tomorrow, and our evening tonight at Grouse Mountain. It's a great opportunity to get to know one another. J'espère que vous allez accroître vos connaissances et en profiter pleinement. And lastly, and most important of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for making a difference to your clients and colleagues, and for making Raymond James a firm that we can all feel proud to be part of. We have come through so much over the past 2 years, and now we are ready to go forward together to better days to come. Enjoy the conference and be grateful for the opportunity for all of us to be connected in person once again. Thank you. Merci.